Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. You're watching another edition of The Small Business Show, exclusively right here at ASBN.com, and now streaming on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Joining us now is serial entrepreneur and branding expert. That's right, I said expert, so take notes today. Caryn Sterling. Caryn has been featured in Forbes, Rolling Stone, and Entertainment Weekly. Thanks so much for joining us today, Caryn. You are a very busy young lady.
Very busy. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Hey, before we start on the good stuff in the interview, share with us, if you would, for the people that are maybe not so familiar with you as we are here at the show, tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. It's interesting because I'll sit in the round with just my peers and we'll talk about like, what do you do? And it's hard sometimes with a path. If you take a look in my office, it's like a product and brand journey of where I've been over the past
see that.
25, 30 years. Been very busy, very busy.
You were part of the billion-dollar success story of JoJo Siwa brand, right? Talk to us about that, maybe some of the lessons learned and all that goes into that.
Yeah, I have to say, so I met JoJo almost 9 years ago. And I hopped on a plane and my husband said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Vegas." He said, "For what?" Because I don't really party. I'm too busy. And I said, "I'm going to see this little girl do her thing. If she's a brat and her mom's a freak, I'll be back for breakfast." Like I literally moved that fast. But when I got there and I met her and her mom, and I asked JoJo what she wanted out of life because she was just telling me her whole story. I was like, wait, there's something here. And I didn't know what. And she told me what she wanted. And immediately, Jim, I knew in my belly exactly what it was I was going to do for her. I was going to make all of her wishes come true and beyond. I said, I'm going to build you to be a human brand. Wow. We're going to build a platform with a purpose. You follow my lead and I will make all of this happen for you and with you and more. Wow. And it was really neat because at that time, when you think about brand building, how does it happen? What are the lessons learned? You've got to pedal back to day one. Yep. You know, when JoJo was on a show called Dance Moms, so she had some notoriety at a global level, but she was one of an ensemble, right? And I, in my meantime, was building a skill set and a network that, unbeknownst to me, was going to, hit like lightning for this little girl who had just turned 12.
Sure. Wow.
And we put it all together and we had a strategy coming into Hollywood in a very unconventional manner because it was at a time when social media influencers were not a proven business model.
Yeah.
The networks who I thought I was just going to walk her right into and, get the deal done and let's go and go back to my day job.
Yeah.
They said, well, we can't do it this way. This isn't how a talent comes through to traditional networks.
Yeah.
So I had to go off and do it. I did a proof of concept with Claire's and HER Accessories and took her bows to a global level, exceeded expectations through to the register, and went back to both Disney and Nickelodeon and said, "You see what I'm talking about? Now do you get it?" And I taught JoJo patents and trademarks and sizzle reel and style guides. But she's a smart girl.
Yeah.
And she, with her social media prowess, I mean, we were a dream team. And, coming into Nickelodeon is who we eventually signed with. They plugged us into over 250 global licensees.
Wow.
And it was an insane infrastructure.
Oh my gosh.
And I think that my advice to people with brand building is, you've got to understand whether it's a product or human that you're working with.
Yeah.
What makes that particular situation unique?
Right.
How to also marry into the parallels. And then where do you go and how do you build the team around you? There's no I in my vocabulary. Yeah. I do it with the right people and we get there together.
Sure. And, when you talk about building a brand, so many people think, they go right to the logo. Oh, well, I've got a company. And when you say, well, what is your brand? Or where do you see this? Oh, here's my logo. This is what, and talk to me about that. Because that's a huge mistake people make, especially entrepreneurs with new companies or companies that they've been running or what have you. When you ask about a brand and what it means, to the consumers out there, oftentimes they'll point to the logo, but it's so much more than that.
It's so much more. And again, backpedaling to the start of anything. I think the difference between, putting something on a t-shirt and you call that merch. If you have a brand, you make a promise. Like a brand delivers on a promise. Mm-hmm. The word brand is used too loosely and people aren't examining what it really means. And it's not the product that you're selling. It's how you, through the products that you sell or the service that you give, that makes people feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And when I was learning about JoJo, I said, I'm going to build a human brand. I didn't immediately say, what's our logo?
Yeah.
I asked her questions about her head and her heart and what mattered to her. And it was self-love and empowerment and anti-bullying.
Wow. Yeah.
But then you've got to develop a logo that then you teach the world that this stands for that, right? So Nike and the swoosh and just do it. At some point, we look at that swoosh and we know we can.
Yeah.
Because it's just do it empowerment. So
right.
I think that it comes with a brand promise first.
So for the people that are listening, what marketing strategies have you found most effective in promoting consumer awareness for products and brands?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the first go-to in today's day is social media.
Yeah.
But it's oversaturated. And I think that people just feel like they can get with the influencer that has the most followers and pay the big bucks, and they're just going to bring it home. I think what people miss the mark in is they take their eye off what their brand is.
Yeah.
And what is the brand promise and who will that service? So it's more important. It's less about how many followers an influencer has, but rather their engagement with the audience that crosses over to who you are already tapped into and you want to expand on. And I think that that's really important, that it's just keep your eye on your brand and your brand message, community, and authenticity.
Do you feel as though, from your perspective and your experience out there working with brands and building brands and such, do you feel as though pretty much if you're in business, you need to be on social media, whether it be LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook or any of the ones out there? Should every business owner and entrepreneur pretty much be there?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. It's not the only way, but it is present.
Yeah.
And it is, really front of mind for so many people. So you do need those touch points. We've learned over the years, over especially the last 8 years, to rely on social media for communication, sharing, right? We want to know what our peers are doing and what they're interested in. So yes, it is important, but it's a piece of the puzzle.
Today, isn't it important, whether it be you or someone like you that asks that question, what is your brand here and how do we build this brand? It seems to me to be the next chair at the table or the conference table to say, here's who I need as consultants. And one of those needs to be a brand expert, does it not?
Well, yes, but I think that, these people who are in business and successful, they can dig a little bit deeper into their own. I don't know why we doubt ourselves.
Yeah.
We innately know how anything makes us feel.
Sure.
And how we can seek out getting more of that, right? Don't we want what makes us feel good?
Right.
What makes us feel part of a community, relatable? We want to be able to trust. That comes back to the authenticity of a brand.
That's right.
So yes, but a brand consultant, it sometimes is a fresh pair of eyes or someone who can pull from a playbook that maybe you haven't been exposed to.
So what if you had to leave the entrepreneurs that are listening and the business owners with any piece of advice today in building a brand, what would it be?
Trust your intuition. Really trust your intuition. Be aware. Admit to yourself that when you walk into a room, you not only do not have all the answers, you're not expected to.
Yeah.
You should really self-analyze and know what you bring.
Yeah.
And then start to fill the seats around the table with people who complement your knowledge, your skill set, your energy, whatever it is. And that's a team, whether it's 2, 4, 7 people or more, but just make sure that you know what you don't know.
Right.
And you trust your intuition for what you do know.
That's right.
And follow it. Because, you hit that detour sign, you hit that stop sign, you can turn.
That's right.
Who's telling you no? Just, Jim, just tell me I can't. And I'm there. I'm so there for it.
That is awesome. Well, you heard it, folks. Caryn Sterling, serial entrepreneur and branding expert. Now we know why she's so successful. She does not listen to no. She's going to do it anyway, and she's going to do it successfully.
We find a way.
We find a way. No question about it. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. I know that our viewers will get a lot out of your visit with us here today. Hopefully, we can do a follow-up for you to see how things are moving along.
I'm here for it. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of The Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.